Hello, I'm going to be here. I'm just going to show you the first couple turns of how Hearts of Iron the card game plays. Usually you would play this with two people. It is definitely a trading card game that was developed by Paradox Interactive. Unfortunately, it's discontinued, but has been remade within Tabletop Sim. I'm going to do about 1 to maybe 3 turns, even though I'm obviously by myself here, but normally you would have two people and you would exchange turns and such. But I'm just going to show you the general flow of the game. It's pretty nice to play. It's pretty simple. On the outlook it does look difficult, but once you learn how to play, it's really not difficult. And usually the first thing when we do is that we're going to look for a starting doctrine. Usually you don't want to show this to your opponent, but since there's no one else here, I'm just going to go ahead and look through the deck. I'm using the starting Axis deck, which is already provided. I'm going to start off with Blitzkrieg here. And usually you don't want to show your opponent what we're going to do, so we're going to do that. And we're going to go ahead, we're going to shuffle this deck up here a little bit. There we go. Alright, once we did that, we're going to, generally what you do here is you're going to flip the coin to see who takes the initiative first. And whoever gets the initiative first usually means they get to go first. I'll call heads. Well, it's really late, but hey, I got it. So I get to go first in my own single player game. I was going to go first either way, so I guess it doesn't really matter. And once we did, we're going to go ahead and draw 10 cards. And we can only start with 6 cards, but we draw 10, and you can get rid up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Ooh, this is a rough hand. So we're going to go ahead and we get rid of some of these doctrines. I need units over doctrines. We're going to go ahead and get rid of those. And we can get rid of one more, and I guess I want to get infantry. We'll get rid of this. We don't need supplies at the beginning of the game. At least I don't prefer supplies. And basically we're just going to thin down our deck down to the starting 6 cards. We're going to put that back in there. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle that up. And that's when the game would normally begin. We start the repair phase. Well, it's nothing to repair, so we'll go on to the... Well, we don't do that yet, sorry. We reveal our doctrine. In this case, mine would be Blitzkrieg. And then we move on to the draw phase. And during the draw phase, we're going to expend some of our infrastructure here and try to draw some cards and see if we can change our situation up a little bit. I'm going to just draw one card because I want to drop some of these guys. That's a very good card. I should be able to use that with my Blitzkrieg Doctrine. So we'll go ahead, we'll spend one right there. And we'll end our turn, since you'll let your opponent do the same thing. And we'll go on to the armament phase. And here we can start deploying our factories, which cost infrastructure. And we'll go ahead, we'll drop 2 of these. That'll give us a total of 5 factories. We can get rid of that. And let's see, what can we drop? Now, I can't drop this just yet because it's a tech level 2 card, and we have no tech. So the cost of it's going to increase by 2 factories because the difference of the current tech versus its tech. And so it's going to cost me 6 factories. I don't have that much. Engineer's going to cost me 4. It's a little bit expensive. So I can drop the infantry. I see what I want to do. We'll drop the engineer. That'll cost me 4. And we'll go ahead and quickly put off to the side. And I believe that's all I can do this turn. So we're going to end my turn here. And normally we go into the combat phase. Unfortunately, I cannot enter combat because my doctrine requires to have an air unit, a tank, and infantry. And I can add an extra tank if I want to. Well, I have an infantry. And I know I have a tank and an air unit in my hand, but it's not on the field yet, so I won't be able to utilize this doctrine yet. So we go right back to the top, back to the repair phase. You would give your opponent the initiative, and we'll continue down the line again. We'll cover any lost used infantry economy cards. We'll put those back in my deck. I got nothing to repair, so go right back to the draw phase, and we'll just start drawing again. Alright. Let's see, there we go. That's a good card. So I'll just take 2 cards this time. I should be able to attack next turn. So we'll move on to the armament phase again. And I'll go ahead, I'll deploy this. I'll give you 6 factories. Now this is going to cost me 4, but it is a fairly decent card. It's very well armored. And I should be able to drop the BF-109, and that will give me, using all my factories, I can now attack next turn. And unfortunately, I don't have very much of a defense, but my offense is pretty powerful. So we'll move on, and normally your opponent will be doing the same thing. In this case, we can initiate our attack. I will attack, let's see here, with my engineer. So remember, we gotta have an infantry. We need a tank. This is my Panzer IV. And then we need an air unit, which is my BF-109. And if I had an extra tank, I can play him from the reserve line, which I do want to play this tank at some point, but unfortunately I don't have it on the field yet. So we're going to have to live without it, and this would be normally my attack. The attack on the left side will cause 3 victory points if he's unable to defend. Well, obviously there's no one really here, so he can't really defend. And that's when you just move this nice little piece over to 3 points. And we just add 3 points, and we try to keep going until we hit V-Day. And at V-Day, you win the game. It's very simple, and basically that's about it. I mean, really, we could take these cards back. They get pinned for acting in combat. Alright, let's get some pin tokens here. And that would end my combat turn. I can no longer attack. I can still defend. I still have an infantry, and I still can deploy this engineer, even though he's pinned. But obviously, he's not going to attack. There's no one there. And we just swing it right back down to the repair phase. And I'm going to repair these guys. I can convert my factories into supplies to unpin my units. We'll go ahead and do that. And that will free up these units for next turn. But now I obviously have less available factories, so I can't deploy this Panzer 6 yet. Although I kind of wanna. And then we'll go around to the, let's see here, we'll move on to the draw phase once again. And once again, it's just really very simple, very basic game. Nothing too hard to remember or how to do. Okay, let's see here. Oh, this is a strong risk I can take here. I can play it safe, deploy the factory, which will give me 4, and I can drop these 2, or I can take the risk and draw 1 extra card. I only have 1 infrastructure point left. I'm going to take that risk. Let's see what it comes up as. And that was a risk very well played. That gave me a JU-87, which is much better than a BF-109 for air support. BF-9 is very good for anti-air, but the JU-87 will destroy any ground unit, which is very good. So we will move on to the next phase. This is probably the last one I'll do. We'll go ahead. I have no more infrastructure, so I can't drop this factory, but I can drop the JU-87. I'm going to move this down back to my reserve. I don't need them on the front lines anymore, and I'll pay for that. And I will not have enough supplies. I can't deploy anything. Can't deploy this, which requires 1 supply, which again I don't have any. And I have no factories to convert into supplies. So that would end my turn right there, and we'll just go into the combat phase, and pretty much we'll move on to another attack. And I'll go ahead. This time I'll use my JU-87, which is much better at destroying enemy ground units. And yeah, you would just keep this up, and you would keep rotating ground until whoever reaches V-Day first wins the game. It's a very basic game. I mean, when you read the manual, it makes it sound much more tougher than it really is, but it really isn't. And this was one of the beauties of this game. I mean, there was some difficulties with it in the original, where it was sometimes hard to understand what a unit did. Hopefully I went back and clarified that, but when I remade the game, for the most part, that's all there is to this game. I mean, you will keep going, keep destroying enemy units, keep breaking through, earn those points, and win the game. I hope you enjoyed this quick little tutorial of how this game really is played and get a good feel for it. It's not as difficult as it looks on the outside, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you on the battlefield soon.